Hello and welcome to this week's video. We have a homework assignment sheet, so I have printed out some pieces of a master drawing onto some sketch paper. So what you're going to do is copy this box into this box and this box into this box. So I've given you a reference here. We've got the whole drawing. This is owned by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's called Studies of a Horse in Profile by Eugene Delacroix. And you can kind of see what it looks like down here, even though it's small. Delacroix is a famous master from like the early to mid 1800s. He's famous for Liberty Leading the People, The Death of Sardanapalus, and a couple of other paintings. Our goal, we have two goals with this assignment. The first goal is to learn and apply the use of measuring against the box to see where these lines should be placed. So the idea with our homework assignments is to just be as accurate as possible. So we're just building skill. We're going to measure where these things are going to be over here, okay? We're going to do that twice. So this one's going to kind of get us started, and then this one is going to allow us to apply what we've learned here. Again, these should be done in succession in order to have yourself like warmed up, right? Like you don't want to go through the process of this one and then not utilize that to go through this one immediately after. So try to leave enough time that you can do both of them at once is ideal for this assignment. I'm going to choose my HB pencil. Oh, the other goal is for us to learn how to copy these lines verbatim. So we don't want to just say, okay, well, he drew a horse's tail and draw our own horse's tail over here. We want these lines to look exactly, these lines that we're going to draw to look exactly like these lines. So we're going to see if we can figure out how to do that, okay? So we'll get started. I've got my HB pencil. And I need to figure out where this horse's rump is in relationship to this square. And I have a 1-to-1 scale. So this is exactly as big as the one that I'm trying to make. So I don't have to reduce it. I don't have to enlarge it. So this is the simplest way to learn how to do this. So I want to see where the things intersect with references that I already have. So the references I have are the edge of this box and the corners, okay? So I'm going to start in this corner in terms of my thought process, and that corresponds with this corner over here. And I'm going to think about how far down this comes, okay? So here we go. That's where the drawing cuts into this box. And then I'm going to think about where is the middle. So this is about the middle of the box, okay, which corresponds with the beginning of this line. So where the end of the horse's rump kind of ends with this line and then moves into this tail line. Okay, so I can find the center over here pretty easily, and I'm just going to judge this visually. And I'm going to think about how far this comes down. Now, I could measure it with my pencil, okay, but I don't think this distance is that complicated that I need to do that kind of exact measurement. I can do this visually because what I'm trying to see is, does this line up with this one? And then is this distance the same as this one? Okay, so I've got this line that is kind of highest here, and it curves around to this line. And then it looked like he tried again. And he would have done this rapidly, but we're copying his drawing. We're gonna learn from this masterwork. Okay, and then I've got a third arc here that goes right into this center point. So if I draw this down here, like here's the rump, it looks like he tried to go this way and then he decided, nope, I need more space. Okay. So then we want to see, where does the tail go? And you wouldn't necessarily have to copy this picture in this order, but if it's helpful to follow exactly what I'm doing, to observe exactly what Delacroix is doing, then do that. We just have to start somewhere. So I've got 3 lines again. Look, he's working in series of 3. He's got 1, 2, 3 here, okay? And then he's got 1, 2, 3. And these look like they were made in rapid succession. This is almost 3. 1, 2, 3. This one kind of 4. And then we've got like 3 or 4 here. And then our pattern breaks down a little bit. We could call this 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I want to carefully look at this arc, and I want to look at both of them at the same time. So I want to be looking at this arc, because I'm going to make this second line. I've got to be kind of having this one in the back of my mind. Where are they in relationship with each other? And I'm going to look at this one as I'm drawing it over here. Okay. My lines are not as beautiful as Delacroix. They kind of taper off. Delacroix taper off. Mine have a more consistent energy because I'm going much slower. He would have gone ch-ch-ch. And with his masterful practice stroke, would have made this beautiful line. Okay, I'm just trying to copy it. So I'm going to go across here. Okay, and I can taper off. I can try to pull my pencil a little bit to make these look a little bit more spontaneous than obviously they are. Okay, so let's go to another place that's close to the edge. So I could try to imitate this, but I really want to learn to do it accurately. So let's go from this corner up now. Okay, and we want to just eyeball it straight across. Here's the intersection point for this interior of his, you know, thigh, where his thigh meets his body. Okay, and this goes in about, let's say this much. So I'm looking at this little jagged edge being about right here, okay? So I'm gonna look at this line. Oh, I don't like what I did there. Okay, I'm looking at this line that goes straight across and then arcs up. Okay, and then I've got one that comes down like this. Whoop. Maybe a little bit further. And again, we're measuring. We're trying to copy this exactly. And this is a practice so that we can get used to doing this visually. And as we get used to doing it visually, we can do it faster. But we care a lot for this assignment about accuracy. So we're going to go this far. And I'm measuring this with my eyes. I could measure it with my pencil if I wanted to, but that seems really hard. Yep, I got it accurate. Yeah, so do what you feel comfortable with, but the idea is that you're developing your visual skill so that eventually you're not worried about having to measure this because you can see it, okay? So try once, maybe by eye, and then if you don't like it, then measure it and see if you can get more and more accurate. Okay, so I've got to go another distance again here. And this line is going to intersect up here. Okay, so it's not exactly an arched line that's perfectly arched, but I'm going to go with that. And then this crosses over. And then I've got a line that kind of intersects. So above this arch, we've got a dark mark. He's basically maybe used the side of the pencil like this. This is probably what he did. Okay, I'm trying to get this accurate. And then there's another mark that kind of comes back. And I can use the side of my pencil for that. Okay, and this bends around and over here. Okay, so my other test is, are things matching up? So when I draw a line into another line, is it where I expected it to be? And if it is, then I can get excited that I've been pretty accurate. If it's not, that gives me the opportunity to correct a mistake. Okay, so I'm gonna make this squiggly line that goes in here. And at this point, this image, we can tell what it is. We can tell it's the back of the horse, but it's very abstract. Like, this is just a series of lines. And so that's what makes this exercise actually effective, because we're having to abstract in our mind, break it down just into the lines themselves. This keeps our minds from being really distracted by what the thing is, which, as we have talked about a little bit in class, we need to engage our intuitive modes of thinking, our visual modes of thinking, and this is forcing us into that a little bit. Okay, so I made this mark, and I might actually, I'm gonna switch to a 2B because I wonder if a softer pencil will help a little bit. All right, I'm gonna make these 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have to think about where this is gonna end. And I wanna think about that in relationship to the edge of the page, as close as I can get, and then the edge of anything else. So I've got this line coming up here. I'm gonna think about that. And then I wanna go up just a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna sweep this around. And it's gonna go straight down there. We've got another one straight down there. And then a couple more. And these are intersecting with this one, just like this one is, so that's great. I'm happy about that. Okay, and let's see if we can get this one. Okay, this one curves up. See, I think I drew 2 lines into one. So this one seems like it curves up here, straight into this little like V thing. And then this one next to it curves up and then around where I have this one drawn. So let's see if I can do that. So I'm gonna try to keep it about as close together. It's gonna go up like this. Okay. And then I have these couple of lines here. They're coming off of this one. This is kind of a double line. We've got 2 lines that are intertwined. And then this is gonna come up like this. Okay. Am I happy with this? Okay, now that I've done this, I want to change this line. This set of lines just doesn't seem to have quite the right shape. So I'm just gonna redraw this really quickly. Okay, this one comes up and around. And then this one comes up like this. And like this, okay? Okay, so to finish this up, I've got a little bit of some stray marks right here. It looks like he thought about connecting these 2 things. This one's darker. Okay, I've got a stray mark here. Now this is gonna match up with this eventually. Okay, these are gonna overlap when we finally construct this. And I've got some really loose marks here. So this one comes up almost to this one. This is probably the center point, okay, on this side. So we need to come just a little bit above the center point. And again, I'm gonna look at this and look at this at the same time. And this one comes down. This one comes over, up, like this. Okay, and now I've got these 3 lines. I'm gonna try to judge those. But if you wanna measure, like this one in relationship to this one, and then this one comes over a little bit more, and then this one comes over. Let's see, are we happy with that? This one, this line, I think I'm gonna change. And if I'm not sure how this feels, I can trace this one, just like I do with the little kids. I say you can trace with your finger, so maybe you've heard me say that. You could also trace this one and see how it feels. I'm not crazy about this either. Let's see, this kind of comes back a little more. Okay. Okay, so I consider this to be copied. This is a little bit thicker. This is a little bit thicker. Okay. Am I happy with that? I'm going to turn it up towards myself. Okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. I might have one more line over here. And there's my copy of this part. Now, we're going to do it again. I'm going to push the paper up so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, we're going to do it over, again, the same thing over here. Let me erase my construction marks, these little tick marks. Okay, here I have more of a continuous line reference, okay? So I want to get the undulation of this line correct, and then I have it again down here. I've got these lines are very close to the edge. So I want to think about the intersection point here, okay? I want to mark that for myself. Think about the intersection point here, okay? And I'm going to look at both at the same time as I make these marks. And then this is the center. That's going to come down, I would say to there. So as I copy this line and this line, I'm going to try to sweep this one down here. And then have another one that sweeps down here. And then from up here, I've got 1, 2, 3. So Delacroix was also often making lines in groups of 3. Okay, this one kind of goes this way. And if you can't see it real well in the video, you should be able to see it on your actual photocopy. So if I'm pointing to something that doesn't seem visible to you in the video, just go ahead and look at your copy yourself. Okay, so I think I've got these. This one might be a little too curved. Okay, this comes down. Okay. Now, let's do the bottom of this, and then we'll try to do the center. And these are beautiful lines. He was looking at a horse and just finding these beautiful contours. And it's a pleasure to us to get to observe this so closely as to copy the drawing. Okay, we're going to go up from this corner and find the intersection point, which is right here. We're going to come over from this corner and find this intersection point. This line is going down off the page in this direction. But let's say if I feel it by doing this, I can feel it again by doing this over here. Okay, so I'm trying to copy like the thickness of the line, but I'm not as worried about that for you guys for the assignment as just copying the actual shape of the line. Okay, so this kind of goes over and then this one kind of goes up. So I'm trying to get that crossover where he captures the muscle of that horse. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, kind of a zigzag. So this one I think goes over a little more than I have. 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay, and then this, I'm going to try to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like he went up and down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, mine might be a little darker than Delacroix, but I'm going to redo this a little bit just to make it look like it looks like he went 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's not better. Okay, there's a couple of lines here. We've got 2 lines, 1, 2. And this one looks like it actually comes all the way down here. Okay, so let's finish up this area. So we're gonna do this scribble. And if you want, you can try to do this kind of with the side of the pencil. It looked like he was really trying to get some, can I do it with the side of the pencil? I have books in the way that are holding up my video camera. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Make these look a little bit like the wide marks he's got there. Okay, kinda. Mine are a little more curved than Delacroix are. Okay, so now we've got to connect this area, okay, with this area. We got this, another one of these undulating lines. Quite beautiful, actually, the way he shows us the structure of this horse. He's got light marks and dark marks, and is just showing us some nuances of the horse, because there was probably skin that went like this, but then he also captures like under the skin, but he does it all in these quick motions. Okay, anyway, we'll go from here to here, give ourselves a mark. Okay, this comes this way. Okay, so there's a mark, and then we need to come in just a little bit and go up, let's say to the top of that dark wide mark. Okay, and we can use the side of the pencil again here. And then we've got a line that goes across here, and then this whole thing comes down. Okay, this goes across, and then okay, over and up, over and up, down. Okay. Here we can measure this one going up just a little bit more. This is kind of that triangular squiggle. Now all of this we have already drawn up here. So up and down. And then up and down and up and down. This is a beautiful line. That hook right there. And up. Okay, we got to think about where in relationship to this line and the edge of the paper. So the rump kind of goes that way, and then we've got this little circle that he made right there, and up and down shows us the line. Okay, this one starts over kind of near here and then ends up down here. So let's see if we can, just by looking at it really carefully as we draw, we can imitate that line. And then we've got 1, 2 more in addition to the 3. Okay. Let's see, these might come up just a little bit more. Okay, now to finish this out, we've got a stray line here that he seems to have tried, and maybe he didn't like it, or maybe the skin just comes down on this horse. And this is the muscle, and then the skin kind of sags. Okay, so this comes up and down a little bit like a hook. And then we've got this shape, which we've already started over here. And then this shape. We're going to think about how close is that. Actually, we're going to draw this shape first, because we can think about, like, well, where does that come in relationship to the edge of the paper? And then we've got this curving over. And then this is like some mark, not just colored in, but some vigorous marks. Okay. Maybe there's a line coming here. Okay, I think that we've copied it. if I want to go back in with a darker pencil and try to darken some of these lines, I could. I'm not sure I need to do that though. And Delacroix was most certainly not using multiple pencils. He just changed the pressure as he went along to get this effect. And this drawing's older, a little bit smudged. Okay, I'm gonna hold it up for myself like this. And as I do that, I'm gonna look across at the two images and make sure that things are basically the same. I think so. And I've learned a little bit about Delacroix's method. I've been able to appreciate his spontaneity and the delicacy and beauty of his marks. Just the master's touch is remarkable when you see it. And Delacroix certainly gives us that. My marks do not look as wonderful, but they are close imitations of his shapes. And so I've thought about measuring, I've thought about line weight, I've thought about how to make these look exactly alike. And that is all good training. I'm practicing with my hand, controlling, observing, all the things that we want to do. Okay, so that's our homework, and you're going to turn this into me in your wallet portfolio when you see me again, and I'm going to give this back to you, but we're going to keep it because eventually we're going to cut these up and assemble a final drawing that looks like this here at the bottom, or at least a little bit like this. All right, so I'll see you guys next time.